The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Member the Rumble? WWE members.
Oh, Jesus.
Come on, I had to. With how much they hammered that into your head over the entire night, I had to get one in. What's up, guys? This is kind of, I think we still have to figure out a name for this, so I'm just going to say this is Wrestling Unwrapped, essentially our shotgun review of the 30th annual Royal Rumble from the Alamo City, San Antonio, and the Alamo Dome. As always, I'm Patrick Hetza, and joining me, as always, once again, Mr. Harry Broadhurst. Harry, member of the Rumble?
If it were physically possible for me to punch you right now, I would. I first of all want to apologize for sounding like crap. I lost my voice during the course of the show. I'm going to do my best to speak my mind as best as I can. So,
alrighty. So yes, obviously tonight was a rather momentous occasion. It was, like we mentioned earlier, the 30th annual Royal Rumble. Essentially the third longest tenured pay-per-view in WWE, and they decided to celebrate the 20th anniversary of their largest crowd by having their second largest crowd ever by returning to the San Antonio Alamo Dome down near the border, and obviously the whole tagline and everything was "Remember the Rumble," which I didn't think was bad, and I liked that they played into the history of it quite a bit.
I mean, yeah, it's catchy, and they like to go with that kind of stuff in order to be able to pimp it on social media and stuff. So, I mean, I can understand why they did it, but as you said, they drove it to the point of excession, and I'm over it. I'm ready to get into the show too. We got about an hour to knock this out, because I know Sean and the guys want to do W2M tonight as well, so let's get to this, shall we? Oh, by the way, tonight's episode of Woo Reacts is brought to you by the Madhouse Toy Chest, stores.ebay.com/Madhouse Toy Chest. If you're a fan of anything wrestling, DVDs, action figures, magazines, posters, VHS tapes, you can find it inside of the Madhouse Toy Chest. Mention that you heard this advertisement here on the Woo Reaction, and get a free gift with your purchase. That is stores.ebay.com/Madhouse Toy Chest. Also, we are a presentation of the W2M Network, available online at www.w2mnet.com.
Indeed. And, Harry, make sure you get your show straight.
No, we're the Woo Reaction, because we're doing a reaction show for once here on Woo.
All right, fair enough. And you know what? Let's get right into it.
For God's sakes, come on, Harry. Stop it. Just stop it.
Come back to watching the Rumble, Sean. No one asked you.
Hey, I can just turn this off.
I prefer you did it. Now can we
Okay.
go?
Go ahead. I'm just going with it.
Thank you.
I would point out that I get yelled at for that kind of stuff by your listeners.
And your co-host. Anyway, one of the most star-studded, and quite frankly, one of the last times that it was a complete toss-up for the Royal Rumble in front of the second largest crowd in Royal Rumble history. And oh, by the way, there's kind of two big matches for each of the world titles, as you have the face that runs the place versus the champ that runs the camp. And Roman Reigns, yet again, tries to cancel the Kevin Owens show. Let's find out what the hell happened tonight. This is the 30th annual Royal Rumble. And as we mentioned, in front of a jam-packed crowd of 52,020, depending on who you ask.
I question the legitimacy of that number, but that's neither here nor there.
I'd give them that number because they did draw 60,000 for 97.
And probably a bigger set. year.
Yeah. So, knock out the gigantic set, which, by the way, that seemed to me, even compared to WrestleMania ramps, looked like one of the longest damn ramps I've ever seen.
That's legit, 100%. For a non-WrestleMania show, maybe since Wembley in SummerSlam 92.
Yeah, it was weird to see it, and I was getting tired just watching the guys run down to get into the Rumble match. But before we get to that, we got 4 more matches that we have to get to, including the opener. I'm kind of surprised that they opened with this.
Stop.
We gotta talk about it, don't we?
Yeah, you were told earlier in the week we have to talk about it. Don't try to skip the pre-show.
All right. So, yes, we did have the 2-hour-long Royal Rumble pre-show featuring 3 matches. So kicking the entire night off was the SmackDown 6-women tag team match. It was Becky Lynch, I'm going to screw this up, Becky Lynch, Nikki Bella, and Naomi facing off against Mickie James, Alexa Bliss, and Natalya. And I'm going to go ahead and assume that the crowd just wasn't there because they seemed kind of flat from this, despite the fact that I thought it was actually a pretty good match. It was nice that they gave them some time.
Crazy thought for you that actually a different Patrick brought up to me here. What are the odds that these 6 women make up your Elimination Chamber match for the women's title at the next SmackDown pay-per-view?
Or they use it as a qualifier for WrestleMania, and instead of Alexa Bliss, put in Eva Marie.
Okay, but Naomi's probably challenging Alexa at Elimination Chamber under that assumption if you factor in that Naomi went over or on Alexa in tonight's pre-show match.
So then how are you going to go from Naomi and Alexa to Naomi versus Alexa versus 4 others? Because you said it'd be for the women's title.
Yeah, I'm saying the Elimination Chamber's for the title. The women's title gets defended inside of the chamber.
Okay, but then where would Naomi and Alexa fit in?
All 6 of them are in the chamber. All 6 of the women in tonight's match are inside of the chamber for the SmackDown Women's title. Wasn't aware it was that hard of a concept to grasp.
It sounded like you were talking about 2 different matches. Shut up.
No. You put all 6 women in this 6-woman tag match tonight, because this is basically the entirety of the SmackDown Women's division, with the exception of Eva Marie and Maurice, who's not really a wrestler anymore.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, there's going to be more than one Elimination Chamber match on the 12th. I'm almost thinking that it could be the first time that the women are inside of the chamber there. They've been all about firsts for women over the course of the last year. Why not?
I mean, yeah, it would make sense. And at least, talking about this match real quick, as you mentioned, yeah, Naomi does get the win over Alexa, which is kind of, I mean, to be fair, out of the kind of background things that you have in wrestling, that's kind of an important one. It's the fact that aside from the one direct match that they had that was pre-planned and everything, Naomi seems to have Alexa's number, which is kind of a surprise. But I mean, as you kind of would have expected, this match ended up breaking down into complete and total chaos. And it seems like Mickie James, to me at least, didn't actually do a whole heck of a lot, despite, this being her first match in the WWE, not counting TakeOver, in, so many years. I'm kind of surprised that she wasn't featured a little more.
I actually think that was probably done on purpose in order to put the focus on her more in a singles environment on SmackDown Live. Why give away too much for Mickie inside of a 6-woman tag when you can have her have a straight singles match with, I don't know, eventually I think you're going to see Mickie James and Becky Lynch one-on-one, and those two are going to tear it up.
Assuming Nikki doesn't get injured again.
What, Mickey gets injured. I said Mickey and Becky.
Oh, oops.
It's going to be a long show, folks.
Oh, hopefully not that long. Moving on to the next match. And this was a little weird.
Just real quick before we move on, in case anybody hasn't had a chance to watch it, if you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, I have a question while you're listening. But for those who don't know, Naomi does get the pinfall in this match over Alexa. Do you think that sets up a one-on-one match, or do you think they go an alternative route?
Personally, I think they're going to set that up for Chamber, and I think they're going to find some way to find 6 to put into a women's chamber, and you make that for the WrestleMania title match. Chances are, I would say Mickey wins, and you do Alexa versus Mickey at WrestleMania. Or Nikki Bella wins, and you do Alexa and Nikki.
I would say Alexa Nikki is far more likely than Alexa and James.
Yeah. But the question with that would be, though, you don't have another 6. So you can either throw all 6 into the chamber, which it kind of ruins future planning. So it's going to be interesting to see, because they only have 2 episodes to get this figured out, which is ridiculous. I get that they want to have more time to build towards Mania, but to only have 2 weeks is pretty stupid.
Yeah, especially since it's 3 weeks to Fastlane after Chamber. In my opinion, there's no reason that Elimination Chamber shouldn't be on the 19th, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah. So,
all right, next match.
That's ridiculous. Our next contest is the first of the 5 Raw matches. 5 Raw, 2 SmackDown, and the Rumble itself, for those counting, and I was. For the Tag Team Championship, what?
The year may have changed, but SmackDown's still the B show.
Yeah. For the Tag Team Championship, it is the champions, Cesaro and Sheamus, facing off against the Bullet Club, or the Good Brothers, a.k.a. Machine Gun Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. And this match, featuring 2 referees after the last time they faced off, ended in a bit of controversy, as one referee counted 3, but that was the second referee, and the first referee called for a disqualification, and because he was the first referee, he overruled. So 2 referees in this contest, and this I don't want to say that, how am I going to put this? I don't want to say Gallows and Anderson are bad. They're not bad. But this, I don't know, maybe because it was so early and it was a title match, it felt like something didn't click right, and it felt kind of awkward.
Yeah, you know what my thing about this is here? Is I don't think anybody buys Gallows and Anderson as a legitimate threat to the tag team titles at this point anymore, after the way they've been booked over the course of the last 6 months. Ever since they've had their straying away from AJ Styles, they've pretty much been the upper echelon bitches of the tag team division over on Monday Night Raw. They've been there to hand people a win when people needed handed a win in order to help extend the New Day streak, or to give Cesaro and Sheamus a team to beat in order to get back into contention to take on the New Day. Honestly, I think they've done so little in regards to building up Gallows and Anderson, and they tried to pump up Gallows and Anderson as much as they could in the quick build to the Rumble that they had here, but I don't think it was enough for people to take them as a viable threat. I don't believe most people thought Gallows and Anderson were winning here tonight. For those of you, again, the actual result is Anderson and Gallows win the Raw Tag Team titles when Anderson pinned Cesaro with a roll-up with a tight assist.
Yes, so Anderson and Gallows do become the new Raw Tag Team Champions, and the fact that they won it, you're right, because I don't want to knock Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. I don't want to do that at all. They're absolutely great wrestlers, but they have been absolutely booked into the ground. You know, hopefully now they can get a little bit of credibility and be booked and looked at more favorably, because it seems like a lot of times when you're a new hot commodity, you kind of have to be humbled a little bit, it seems. And I'm hoping that that's pretty much what we were dealing with over the last couple of months. And I hope that it's, you know, kind of onward and upward for Gallows and Anderson. I'm a little surprised. I don't want to say hot shot, but I'm surprised that they would take the belts off of Cesaro and Sheamus so quickly. I mean, what, 1 month? And I understand that we're coming off, you know, the longest tag team championship reign of all time, legitimately of all time. But to go from that to 1 month, a little bit of a shock to me.
Yeah, I don't think that this was the time to take the belt off of Sheamus and Cesaro either. I mean, I really wouldn't mind seeing them go back to Sheamus versus Cesaro for WrestleMania, because I don't think anybody really thought that they were going to be a long-term, I don't think anybody ever thought they were going to be long-term tag team champions. But at the same time, like I said earlier, I don't believe that most people thought that they had built up Gallows and Anderson enough to put the titles on them here either.
Yeah, kind of a surprise there. But we start the night off very quickly. Like I said, we're not even on the main show yet, and we already have new tag team champions. Speaking of former champions, though, our final contest of the pre-show, our pre-show main event, if you would.
Main event anywhere in the country for any pre-show.
Sure. Well, the way it was treated, yeah, I kind of understand that one. Would you say the Boss taking on the new Boss? Sasha Banks taking on Nia Jax. What? If you're trying to sell a pay-per-view to a crowd, especially with the fact that Michael Cole had to admit that apparently, from what I've heard, the WWE Network sign-up page crashed for some strange reason. They just could not handle it, and they were having a lot of issues. So if you're trying to sell that pay-per-view...
I would take this point to point out that it is the best pay-per-view of the year.
Well, understandable. But if you're going to try and sell me on that pay-per-view, 5 minutes?
I don't think it matters.
Essentially?
I don't think it matters, and the reason I say that is you're not trying to sell the Rumble on the back of Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. You're selling the Rumble on AJ Styles versus John Cena, on Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns, and on the Rumble match itself. Don't nobody give a crap about Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax, and nobody cares that Nia Jax won either.
But at the same time, wouldn't you want to sell it on quality? Because let's be honest, the Royal Rumble, at the very least, the Rumble match aside, is usually good for one good to great match.
And you have that with Styles and Cena.
And I would put the other title match at good as well.
We'll get to that a little bit later on in the show.
Yeah. It surprises me that that's the last chance that you have to get those last subscribers. I'm surprised this went so close to the start of the pay-per-view. Because this was a complete squash. Now you beat the hell out of her.
I think it's going to be a case of breaking. I think it's going to be a case of breaking Sasha down to build her back up again, and I think we're going to see a return to the heel boss that we saw in NXT that we really haven't gotten on the main roster.
Sounds like a Night After Mania kind of thing to me.
Bayley wins the belt at Mania. Sasha attacks her the night after.
Sounds like it. I mean, it seems like that's where they're going, and I guess with the way things are, I guess you could essentially roll both of these matches back to back here, and roll them in together. So Nia Jax ends up picking up the victory, and for some reason, the finish of it is completely escaping me.
Samoan drop.
Right.
It was a toss-up Samoan drop like Jimmy Uso used to use.
Right. So it seems like, yeah, they're definitely building up Nia Jax, but if you're going to build up Nia Jax, she's got to have an opponent. And, I mean, with the way the Raw roster is, there's really only one person left.
Well, yeah, but I think at the same time that you're going to probably end up seeing, Sasha Banks taking on Emelina at Fastlane.
Sure we will.
She's going to debut some point between now and Mania. She's not waiting until after Mania to debut.
Sure she will. You know I'm right. It's ridiculous now. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Back to the review, please.
I know. Moving on with the review, though, we finally move into the main card. And our opener, it surprised the hell out of me that this was the opener, for the Raw Women's Championship. It is the champion Charlotte, the 15-0 on pay-per-view Women's Champion Charlotte, taking on Just Bayley. And yes, I'm saying that on purpose.
What was up with that shirt?
I have no... What was up with both of those chicks?
Like, for real, it looked like Bayley went as flea market as possible with her ring gear tonight. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, it was definitely a little bit weird. And it looked like she had a caricature of herself on her back.
Well, we re-reviewed December to Dismember. At least she wasn't on her ass.
This is true. And also, her tights didn't ride up her. Why do you have to? Why the hell did you make me have to remember Matt Striker's ass? Anyway.
Remember the Striker. All right. As far as this match goes,
that's okay. During that pre-show match, I said, hashtag, remember the boss's ass whipping.
All right, back to Charlotte and Bayley, because I'm not even going to dignify that.
Okay.
I can't say the result surprises me, because I really don't think we're going to see Bayley win the title until WrestleMania. Now, whether or not we see that in a singles environment or in a multi-woman match at WrestleMania will be the question for me. So I don't know how I feel about them using Bayley's first one-on-one opportunity at the Rumble and having her get pinned relatively cleanly in said opportunity after taking natural selection on the ring apron.
I do wonder. That one caught me by surprise. Not the fact that Charlotte won. When we did the preview, I said Charlotte was going to win. You know, and that was a gimme call. You know, it seems completely set that she's going to take her streak to through Fastlane into WrestleMania. I'm wondering if they did that to protect the move, because I think it was Sasha had a habit of kicking out of natural selection, and I wonder if they're planning on having Bayley do it as well at some point. So having Charlotte do natural selection on the hardest part of the ring, as they let you know multiple freaking times tonight, I'm wondering if they were doing some protecting there.
I 100% think that's the reason that happened, and that's going to make the pop when Bayley kicks out of natural selection dead center of the ring all that more impressive once it actually does happen in the next title defense.
And then also, one other thing that I want to mention, Bayley scores with an absolutely gorgeous elbow drop. A little too good on that scoring, though, as after that, holy cow, did Charlotte's mouth end up just blood everywhere. I was surprised.
And to steal a line from our friends at it'sstillrealtous.com, Bayley got a little savage there.
Yeah. And, Jesus. Yeah, she apparently caught Charlotte with that elbow, and I didn't, and I know I'm not the only one, I didn't mind the picture of Charlotte kind of with that smirk on her face with a mouthful of blood. Like, that to me was actually a really good picture. To say that she'll go to any lengths and isn't afraid to get a little dirty in the name of keeping that belt.
She did what she had to do tonight in order to keep the title, and I feel like we're looking at probably a multi-woman match at Fastlane, and then Bayley gets a one-on-one rematch at WrestleMania that Charlotte wins. Or that Bayley wins, excuse me. But we'll see what happens.
I'm thinking flipped.
They got 9 weeks to get there. We'll see how they do so.
Yep, 63 days from tonight. Exactly 9 weeks from tonight. Our next contest. This was a little weird. I was surprised that this went so early, but you kind of find out why later on in the night. For the WWE Universal Championship, the champion Kevin Owens puts his belt on the line in a no disqualification match against Roman Reigns, and to prove that Kevin Owens can actually do it on his own and without Chris Jericho's help, Chris Jericho is locked in a shark cage 20 feet above the ring. And I would buy him being 20 feet above the ring. He was pretty damn high in the cage. Shut up.
I didn't say anything. Just finish your description. Jesus.
In the end, though, in a complete chaotic match, Kevin Owens ends up winning completely on his own. And I say completely on his own because he didn't have a damn thing to do with Braun Strowman interfering. So Kevin Owens wins on his own, clean as a whistle.
Yeah, well, okay. I understand. I understand why Strowman gets involved here. It's kind of because of the whole Goldberg thing that happened on Raw, where Reigns and Goldberg hit Strowman with a double spear there. But given what happened in the Rumble, why? If you're not going to use this to set up, unless you're using it to set up Reigns and Strowman for Fastlane, and I'm going to be straight up honest with you, my interest level in that match is exactly 0.
Yeah, and let's be honest, this was a brutal match. Kevin Owens took some pretty crazy bumps here. You know,
that back bump off the apron through the chairs was dumb.
It had to do something kind of to pop the crowd.
No, that was straight up. That was straight up dumb, and I'm sorry for cutting. Not sorry for cutting you off here, but that was straight up dumb for that bump that he took off the apron through those chairs there, because he clear as day smacked the back of his head on those chairs. And in the era that we're in right now, where we know about how real head trauma is, it was downright retarded for him to take that move.
And the weird thing is, as you mentioned that, I don't think that was the worst bump that was taken in this match.
Yeah, that announce table was kind of a dick too, wasn't it?
Well, not so much the announce table. I don't blame the announce table for not breaking. I do blame Braun Strowman for not cleaning off the damn table.
All right, but to be fair, on that chokeslam, Reigns did not hit that monitor, so he has no reason to gripe.
I don't know about that.
I can tell you with certainty he did not hit that. I can tell you with certainty he didn't hit that monitor.
Because
the very first thing that, I watched the pay-per-view with a group of friends, and we were rolling like 10 deep tonight, too. It was a huge crowd. One of the very first things we pointed out when Strowman took Reigns over to that announce table was, move the monitor, and then he lifts him up and chokeslams him. The table doesn't break, but Reigns doesn't hit the monitor either. It's not like he Orton back bumped on it like Wrestlemania.
Yeah. But, yeah, the table not breaking sucks, but that's a risk that shouldn't exist. Let's be honest, because there was at least one camera angle that, to me, I thought he did. I thought Roman had smashed his head off that monitor. So, clean the damn table off. Granted, yeah, it made for a cool, chaotic moment, and this was a match full of that. And then also, I love the fact that you knew this was coming. Chris Jericho's not going to be involved. Bull! Chris Jericho tosses. I absolutely love this, and I thought this was it in this match. Chris Jericho tosses brass knucks down to Owens, and Owens hits Reigns with a Superman punch. Legitimately, I thought that was the end of that match.
That kickoff pissed me. That kick out pissed me off so badly. Like, you know what the problem? The general beef that Roman Reigns gets is the Superman booking, the Super Cena booking, as we call it here. That was the perfect example of the Super Cena booking.
Yeah, that one was pretty bad. However, my guess is that was all on purpose to lead to Braun interfering, and Kevin Owens ending up being able to pick up the victory and retain his championship. So, moving on to our third contest of the night. It is the Cruiserweight Champion versus the King of the Cruiserweights, Rich Swann defending his title versus Neville, after a lot of stalling so that they could change the ropes again. This is one case where I don't understand that one.
I would point out that I actually thought that the 30 moments for the 30-moment countdown for the Rumble was pretty cool.
No, absolutely. It absolutely was. But I'm just saying, I think this is one case where they think they have to change the ropes.
Well, yeah, I guess I could understand that.
So, yeah, but in lieu of the By the Numbers promo, which is always my favorite promo of the year, and I actually mean that, instead they did the top match of the Rumble.
I'm cutting you off here because I 1,000% agree with that. The By the Numbers video is the best video the WWE does all year, hands down.
Yeah. But instead of that, they did the top 30 facts of the Rumble. A lot of them, though, were pretty known, except for one, and I'm going to mention that when we get to the Rumble match, but that's a little bit later on. So, getting back to here, though, the crowd didn't seem into it in the beginning, which, kind of surprise, they usually aren't. But I would say by the end, though, I think they were able to get into it, and I'm glad that Swann and Neville were allowed, because it seemed like they were, to let loose a little bit and kind of have a little more freedom with their match. Because let's be honest, probably one of the reasons why I think the Cruiserweights isn't so well received is the fact that they don't get a lot of time and they're somewhat limited. It felt like they had a little bit more freedom with this match, especially when you see things like Rich Swann doing a frickin' Phoenix Splash from the corner to the floor. You know, and that blew my mind because I couldn't believe that they gave them the freedom to do that. Because I think before that, the last time I saw someone try and do a Phoenix Splash, ironically, was at the Royal Rumble when Seth Rollins tried to do one. And I think he got blocked by Brock.
Seth hit, pretty sure Seth hit Cena with a Phoenix Splash at some point during their feud. And I'm almost certain he hit Ambrose. I'm almost certain he hit Ambrose with one as well.
So, but, I mean, what were your thoughts about this match? Did you think that it seemed that they had a bit more freedom? And then, you know, what did you think about the ending with it?
I think the ending was the right call. I don't think there's any question that Neville's the best thing going in the Cruiserweight division right now, with the possible exception of Jack Gallagher. But I think that with Gallagher's rise and then the impending debut this Tuesday night of Akira Tozawa, Neville going over here was absolutely the right call. My only concern is with all the constant hot-shotting of the Cruiserweight title, it's going to end up getting to the point of like the Hardcore title where the title changes end up meaning nothing in the long run, and that's something that I do worry about. But other than that, I did really enjoy the match in general, though. Sorry, my voice is like shot right now.
I also did like with the fact that they're kind of, you know, really trying to hammer home Neville. So I'm actually glad that he didn't win via the Red Arrow. That was a smart decision.
And that's something that I've pointed out on the reaction before, and I'm going to point out here as well, is that it is 100% the right move to take Red Arrow away from Neville right now while he's in his heel run. That move is way too babyface for a heel to use.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You have guys like Mustafa Ali hitting that imploding 450. That's the kind of move that babyfaces should be using, not heels. And Mustafa Ali is a babyface, so it makes sense that he's using it. Red Arrow, when Neville was being a dick by using it to Rich Swan's back, to further injure Swan's back, I was kind of okay with that, but it's not a move that he needs to be busting out on a regular basis as a heel, in my opinion. And I really like that Reigns of Saturn submission.
Wasn't that what it was? I thought it looked familiar.
That is 100% the Wings of Saturn.
Okay, that explains that, because I'm sitting there looking at it, it's like, why do I know this move? I know I've seen it before. And it just did not come to me. Yep,
Perry Saturn gold submission finish when he wasn't using the Death Valley driver in WCW.
Yeah, so in the end, though, via a submission victory, Neville, as Corey Graves said, and Corey Graves was absolutely spot on commentary in my eyes, he is no longer the self-proclaimed king of the cruiserweights. He is the king of the cruiserweights now, as he becomes the new cruiserweight champion, the fourth now cruiserweight champion since they crowned the first one in August?
September. Question for you.
Yes.
Who's Neville's challenger at WrestleMania? Is it Gallagher? Is it Akira Tozawa? Do they just throw out a bunch of them and tell them to go out there for 10 minutes and flip around, or what do you think?
I think they go with the rumored match, and the rumored match is a ladder match.
Well, we're going to get a ladder match. We're going to get a ladder match somewhere on the Mania card. I just kind of figured it would be for one of the secondary titles, the IC or the US title.
I mean, I've heard ladder for the cruiserweights for a while, so I think you just say screw it and like I said with Takeover, throw everybody in the pool. Throw Cedric, throw Akira, throw Gallagher, throw Ali, throw Daivari, put Neville in there. Name however many you want and just keep it even. You can put Nice in there, you can put Gulak in, well, maybe not Gulak, unfortunately he's kind of treated like on 205 Live.
Can we not have Daivari in that match? Like, I really like his brother Sean, but Arya's done nothing to impress me in the WWE.
Aside from essentially be Jack Gallagher's bitch.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so no real surprise there. But I would just say find an odd number. I'd say 7. 3 faces, 3 heels, and you're champion. And maybe you do Neville and Tozawa at Fastlane and have Neville cheat to win or something. So, our next contest, though, oh boy, this is going to be interesting. The face that runs the place, the champ that runs the camp. For the WWE World Championship or WWE Championship, I've heard 6 different names. I'll say WWE Championship. AJ Styles defending his belt. Sure, yeah, the SmackDown Heavyweight Championship. AJ Styles defending his belt against the man seeking Ric Flair's record for number 16, John Cena. I'll put it like this. I have a question for you. Can John Cena and AJ Styles have a bad match?
No.
It's pretty damn obvious that they can't. Holy cow. They beat the piss out of each other. And
for the better part of a half an hour.
Yeah, I think I saw the actual match time being somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 minutes, and what in 25 minutes they gave. If there was any question, if there was any question of AJ Styles being one of the best in the world, and whether or not John Cena still had it, being a part-timer essentially, I would say that was answered tonight, because they put on an incredible match from start to finish. They built it up as best they could. And in the end, I'll go ahead and say it, far and away, even though we're only, 29 days in, far and away the front runner for WWE's match of the year so far. This was absolutely incredible, and in the end, John Cena, after an absurd 4 attitude adjustments overall, and finishing with back-to-back with a really stupid roll-through, but I'll forgive him. Back-to-back.
It looked cool.
Yeah, it did. John Cena wins, finally, his record-tying 16th World Championship, defeating AJ Styles in a classic yet again.
All right, so, yeah, these two can do no wrong against each other. I think we've proven that time and time again. The only time they do wrong against each other is when other people are thrown into the mix, like Enzo and Cass. And they have 6-man tag matches that really don't need to be 6-man tag matches. In straight-up one-on-one contests, everything they've touched has turned to gold ever since Styles has come into the WWE. And frankly, it's going to continue that way for the foreseeable future, for as long as they decide to constantly pair Styles and for as long as they decide to constantly pair Styles and Cena together. Very, very similar to the SummerSlam matchup in the layout, in my opinion. And I think that was the wise decision there, because they kept a very quick pace for the vast majority of that 25, whatever it was that you said. I'm about to pull up Larry's review right now, so I'll have an exact match time for you in just a few moments. But I think top to bottom, though, it was at least as well paced, if not better paced, than the SummerSlam match.
Yeah, and this one, they threw everything at each other. They had Styles use the STF. They had Styles kicking out of the AAA, as I legitimately call it, the Avalanche attitude adjustment off the second rope, the screw you bomb, from what I've also heard people call it. They gave each other everything they had. And the one negative I have here, and it's a small thing, is it seemed like about halfway through the match, John Cena was actually getting pissed off. And it was something that we noted on the comment thread on the W2M page, that it looked like Cena was legitimately getting PO'd. It felt like it was hints of a heel turn, and then it just didn't happen. And I found that really, really weird, that they would, I mean, they could have done more with it, but in the end, you know, good guy John Cena, and then we see why, again, you will never have a heel turn from John Cena immediately after the match, when he goes out and finds a Make-A-Wish Foundation child and goes and celebrates with him. That is why you will never see a Cena heel turn. But don't tease it and then do that. So that's my only gripe on this. Other than that, to me, this match was absolutely incredible, especially by WWE standards.
See, I don't like that I don't like that you're trying to classify it by saying by WWE standards. No, that was just a good match, period.
I don't want to hear it from people. That's my problem here. I don't want to hear it from people. Yes, okay, in my mind, only me, do I feel this is a match of the year candidate? Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. But I, at the same time, do not want to be chastised and bastardized by people because of other matches that have already happened. And here we are, 29 days into a 365-day year. So yes, by WWE standards, this is the match of the year candidate already.
No, this is the match of the year, period, thus far. And I frankly, I could care less what all the New Japan marks say.
So,
here's the thing. Rather than New Japan fans want to admit it or not, WWE is the biggest thing in the world, plain and simple. And these are two of the best in the world. And as much as it physically pains me to say that about Cena, because he has become exactly what he's railed against for years. Cena has become a part-timer. But top to bottom, that was fantastic.
So,
you won't say it, I will.
Okay. You're right. But in the end, and I say congratulations to him. And it took almost, I think, 2 years for it to actually happen. John Cena finally wins number 6. He finally ties Ric Flair. 2 years or 3?
3. I want to say Money in the Bank 2014. Then that led up to SummerSlam where he took the ass whooping from Lesnar.
Yeah. So, hard to believe. Everyone kind of buries John Cena for always putting himself in the title match. And then you realize, it's been 2.5 years. Because, August halfway through. It's been 2.5 years. Which is crazy. To really think about it. But at the end of the night, at the end of tonight, John Cena ties Ric Flair after winning number 16. Congratulations, John Cena. Without a shadow of a doubt. Now, the question is, how long?
Well, yeah, the question is will we still have this same level of respect being shown once he actually does break the unbreakable and takes over the all-time lead?
Yeah.
Because I got a funny feeling people are going to be a lot less forgiving if Cena ever surpasses Flair than them letting Cena tie Flair.
Also, the question is, how long will this one go? Will it be 2 weeks? Will it be 9 weeks? Will it be a year? Just for hell of it.
I think it'll be 2 weeks, and I will explain more about that when we get into our discussion of the Rumble.
Which it is about that time. For the 30th time. What?
Right about where I'd like to be pacing-wise here. We finish this Rumble discussion up and do our big finish and get out of here at 1 a.m.
Anyway, it is that time. The 30th annual Royal Rumble match. One small change, supposedly. For the first time in quite a long time, actually, wrestlers are coming out every 2 minutes rather than every 90 seconds. Air quotes, obviously, because there were a few times.
Some of those intervals were damn sure not 2 minutes.
But at the same time, I think they did that. I think they said 2 minutes, knowing that it was going to take the wrestlers a fair chunk of time to get down that ramp.
Yeah, like we said at the top of the show, the WrestleMania ramp.
So, yeah, that one was, I could kind of see that, because it took some of them probably 30 seconds to get down that damn ramp. All right. So we're not going to go through everybody here. So,
obviously.
Yeah. So, all right. We'll start with Big Cass's number 1. Mostly so that Enzo can cut a promo. Enzo was also in the match at 27, the poor bastard.
That promo was ass.
Yeah, not one of the better ones. One of the worst ones. I would actually dare say that Enzo's promo in the KFC commercial was better than that one.
Yeah, him falling in love with the KFC chicken was better than the promo he cut inside of the Alamo Dome. 100%.
I can't believe they did that. And number 2, Y2J Chris Jericho. And the reason I put a focus on him, Jericho went into this, I believe, somewhere in the ballpark of a lowly 6 minutes short of breaking Triple H's record for the most cumulative time spent in the Rumble match. Chris Jericho would pass that and destroy it, spending almost an hour in the match. Unofficial match time, and I say unofficial because I'm getting this one from Wikipedia, 1:02:07. Chris Jericho
that actually breaks Bob Backlund's record.
No. Match time, 1:02:07. Not Jericho in the match time, the actual match time, bell to bell, 1:02:07.
Jericho went out Final 4, so I guess he was probably in there for about 50-some-odd minutes. You're right, never mind. He did not break Backlund's record. My bad.
I would say he fell just short of it, though, because he had to have been in there, because the last few eliminations occur fairly quickly. I would say he was in there for an hour anyway. Which would not only would that put Jericho at the 4-hour mark, that would actually put him pretty damn close to the 5-hour mark in terms of cumulative time in the Rumble. Other noticeable entries, I'm going to get to the entries first, at least the notable ones. How's that? Braun, number 7. Sammy, number 8.
Which, I feel the need to chime in here. Sammy was the only person whose entry number we knew going into this match, because they did a backstage segment where Ambrose opened Sammy's Rumble tumbler thing and revealed that Sammy had number 8.
And I laughed my ass off at that promo.
You have number 8. Wait, I think it's upside down. You have number 8.
8. I don't know where Ambrose lost it, but to me, Ambrose has found his gift of comedy again. But yeah, Sammy at number 8. most of them are not important. I'll get to one later. Orton at number 23. Brock at 26. The irony of that one is not lost on me. Goldberg at 28. Taker 29. And screw you fans, Roman Reigns is number 30.
Wait, what's the irony of Brock at 26?
How fast did he lose that match at Survivor Series? 1 minute and...
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's funny. I didn't
26 seconds.
That's funny. I didn't even think about that. That's funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
and he got made to look. And he got made to look like Goldberg's bitch again tonight.
Exactly. Far and away, Y2J is the Iron Man of this match, lasting almost an hour. Coming in at number 2, and he was the 27th man eliminated in the match. Then one other entry. I could not believe that for once. And really, it was the only major surprise of this. But for once, the WWE actually got it right. Number 10, Ty Dillinger. To the point that the crowd was even chanting 10 during the countdown. He didn't last too long. But I think in this case, the crowd was happy that for once they actually got something they wanted.
But here's my problem, though, is that completely pisses on the whole thought that the numbers are randomly drawn. DeMarco pointed this out on his bold predictions thing on 411, and I know that we're loosely associated with 411. Some of them are still, I think. And I know Sean still writes for 411 as well, so I think we can get away with talking about 411 here.
Anyway,
but he points out, though, that it completely pisses on the fact that the entrances are supposed to be random.
How do you know that he didn't somehow randomly draw number 10?
I don't buy that for a single damn second.
Hey, I'm trying here, all right?
Well, try as you may, I don't buy that for 1 second.
Yeah. And, all right. There's one other one that I have to mention, only because, once again, screw you fans. After Dillinger, guess who was number 11? Braun Strowman's plaything.
Wait, what?
Braun Strowman's plaything. James Ellsworth.
Oh. Okay, and I said this in the chat for the wrestling, for the W2M staff chat that I said there, and I will say it again right now. Ellsworth completely justified his spot in that Rumble by the bump that he took going out of the Rumble. That was all kinds of levels of stupid, but God, it looked incredible.
I 100% agree, and I know. Especially with this Rumble that, aside from Dillinger, there were really no surprises. No Joe, no Balor, no Knock, especially with the fact that he lost the belt last night. By the way, congratulations to Bobby Roode on winning the NXT Championship at TakeOver. So
you've already watched TakeOver if you're listening to us.
Yeah, no kidding. I hope you watched the Royal Rumble if you're listening to us. Ellsworth earned his spot in the Rumble from that bump. That was essentially a chokeslam from the ring to the floor, flat on his back. That could not have been comfortable to take at all.
Oh, no, he needs to be back in the full body cast come SmackDown.
I sure as hell hope so. Also, that was Braun Strowman's sixth, and I can't believe I'm saying the sixth consecutive elimination. In terms of eliminations, 10 people were able to claim one. Strowman leads far and away with 7 eliminations, 7 consecutive. Taker with 4. Jericho with 2. Randy Orton and Mark Henry with one each, and there's a reason I'm stalling on this one. Brock, Goldberg, and Roman Reigns each with 3, along with Cesaro and Sheamus, if you're going to give me 3 with them eliminating New Day. I'm giving each of them credit on each elimination.
I'm giving you 1.5 for each.
Oh, yes, I know. They had an arm around 1.5 guys. Shut up.
I'm just saying it was 1.5, not 3.
I'll give them 3. Your final 4 here, Bray, Orton, Roman, and Y2J. And
No,
got to...
Not going to the final 4 yet because I feel I need to talk about one other thing that happened. Because I said this on the chat for the W2M chat as well. I popped like a biatch for Luke Harper's discus clothesline on Bray Wyatt, and I will openly admit to the fact that I am one of the biggest Harper marks there is.
Yeah. For those counting, Bray was 21, Orton 23, Harper 25. And I will say this, one of the major things that stuck with me was, before I get to Harper, the view of having the lit ring, because you couldn't leave it unlit because you had so damn many guys in there at that point, but seeing the lit ring, and as the camera pans back and you just see all of those fireflies, what an image. That to me was the image of the entire show. That was an incredible sight. Seeing, 52,000, well, obviously not everybody had it, but seeing all of those lights as they just kept panning and it just kept getting more and more. That was an incredible sight for me. In terms of Harper's discus clothesline, thank you. I'm shocked it happened there, but thank you. And then, does Orton get the elimination here? No. Does Bray get the elimination here? No. Guess who eliminated him?
Yeah, well,
This was... All right. Brock, Enzo, Goldberg, Taker, Roman are your final 5. Let's ignore the one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, well, in fairness, Enzo kind of died. It was death to Enzo.
Boy, did Corey Graves put that one over, by the way.
And for the record, no, Enzo was out earlier than that. Final five are Jericho, Bray, Orton, Reigns, and Taker, sir.
Oh, no. I meant your final 5 entrances.
Oh, okay, my bad. Sorry. Carry on.
No, not your final 5 in the match. Final 5 entrances.
Okay, carry on.
Yeah, because I have it in order, and yeah, your final 5 was Jericho, Bray, Roman, and Taker. Roman tosses out Taker because, sure, why the hell not?
Well, at least we know he's not wrestling for a heavyweight title at WrestleMania now.
True, but at the same time, it seemed like they were... Okay, you're building towards Taker and Roman, it seems.
Taker
but
Goldberg.
Huh?
Or Taker Goldberg, given what happened earlier in the Rumble.
Or Braun and Roman, given what happened earlier in the Rumble pay-per-view. So, to me, it seems like we're going to get Goldberg and Brock. Does that seem fair? That we're going to get Goldberg and Brock 3? Even though at this point it doesn't seem like Brock actually deserves it.
But yeah, What's going to happen at WrestleMania? Goldberg's going to win in 1 minute and 25 seconds?
He may just win in 25 seconds. No, I do think we're going to finally get the good blow-off match at WrestleMania. I would go so far as to say, and I know it's going to drive some people nuts when they hear this one. I think we're going to get Goldberg and Kevin Owens for the title at Fastlane.
Yeah, Goldberg beating Owens for the Fastlane? Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
Goldberg's beating Owens for the belt at Fastlane? Yep, that's happening.
Hell no. Nope. No. Do you want to know why this is going to drive me nuts, what I'm about to say? Goldberg and Kevin Owens at Fastlane. Owens is going to leave with the belt. Because I think, much like tonight, Brock's going to cost Goldberg the belt. I know. You don't like what I just said.
I don't have an opinion one way or the other.
I know, because you don't like Goldberg.
Yeah, I've made that crystal clear over the last couple of months here on Wrestling Unwrapped.
Yeah. So, yeah, once again, your final four, Jericho, Bray, Orton, Roman. Roman eliminates Y2J fairly quickly. So your final three, Bray, Roman, Orton. And this happens almost immediately. Roman eliminates Bray. Orton eliminates Roman. And your last man standing, kind of in a surprise, but I had heard this pick up steam a bit more lately, becoming only the sixth man to win 2 Royal Rumbles, Randy Orton. Randy Orton is your 30th, or I should say the winner of the 30th Royal Rumble. Are you okay with that?
Yes. And here's why. Guess who's getting his first heavyweight title at Elimination Chamber?
Oh, that's an absolute gimme. And I'll put it this way. To anyone bitching about it, and I know there's a lot of people, no. It is not going to be John Cena versus Randy Orton.
No, the SmackDown title match at WrestleMania is going to be Randy Orton challenging Bray Wyatt. Because they have been slow burning an actual conclusion to that feud for almost 8 months now. If you go all the way back to around Backlash.
Yeah.
And honestly, what I'd really like to see is I'd really like to see it be a triple threat match with Luke Harper involved as well.
Yeah, that's the only kink that I have here. So, to me, it almost seems like we're destined for possibly another Harper-Orton match at Elimination Chamber, because what's the point of Randy Orton being in the chamber if he's already guaranteed a match? And it was announced earlier on.
That
I know
assumes
a
that
couple people
Harper's
are
not.
knocking it.
Wait, just real quick here. That assumes that Harper's not in the chamber himself for the heavyweight title opportunity.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. Is it was announced earlier in the night, and I think actually it was announced maybe on SmackDown or maybe Talking Smack. It was announced that the WWE Championship would be defended in the chamber.
It was announced on SmackDown 2 weeks ago.
Okay. I knew that it was announced ahead of time.
Shane cut a promo at the start of SmackDown 2 weeks ago where he announced that the SmackDown title would be defended in the Elimination Chamber on February 12th.
Yeah. So, we now know that it's John Cena that's going to defend it.
AJ Styles is a lock. AJ Styles is a lock. Bray Wyatt's is a lock. Luke Harper's a possible. Who do you think fills out that Elimination Chamber match, though, is my question.
Well, I almost wonder, with the match that's rumored for WrestleMania, is Styles a lock for Chamber?
I think he goes into the Chamber, shenanigans go down where he doesn't leave Chamber as champion, and he can, because I know the match you're referring to.
Yep. I almost wonder, is Styles a lock?
Are you referring to the match I think you're referring to, Styles and Shane?
Yes.
I think Styles gets put in the Chamber for his rematch clause. He does not win to the Chamber, and he takes it out on Shane.
All right, fair enough. So, yeah, I would say Orton winning leaves a lot more questions, but it feels like with everything that was kind of rumored, it feels like you kind of see where they're going. I have no problems with Orton winning because it was obvious that none of the big guys were going to win. I never really thought Braun was going to win. I never thought Taker was going to win. Even when he came out, I never thought Roman was going to win. And I kind of figured Goldberg and Brock were going to offset each other. And they kind of did. So Orton is the last man standing and wins. So he's guaranteed a main event match at WrestleMania. The question is, how many main event matches are there going to be? That's kind of the long and short of it. So, do we want to move on real quick?
I do believe it's big finish time.
It is indeed. So, alrighty, let's get this one out of the way real quick. Best and worst match first. This one's going to be easy. So let's get this one out of the way real quick.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
This one's easy. Let's get it out of the way first. Best match on the card.
Oh, Styles Cena, without a shadow of a doubt.
That was an absolute gimme. I mean, what do you have to say? Match of the year quality. Without a shadow of a doubt. They went out there for 25 minutes and proved yet again that they are not physically capable of having a bad match against each other in a singles match. That was whew, that. I'm surprised that it went immediately before the Rumble because, boy, I was exhausted after that one. I needed a damn cigarette after that one. That was a great match, and once again, congrats to John Cena on winning number 16 finally. Any thoughts? No?
I hope Styles isn't done beating up John Cena though, just for my own personal enjoyment.
Yeah, it was great that he was able to sign autographs before he had his chance to beat up John Cena. And while he lost, he still beat up John Cena. Alrighty, this should be an interesting one. What's your worst match?
Well, since we're covering the pre-show on this particular episode, we're going to use the pre-show for our horse match, and that's going to be Nia and Sasha. But at the same time, I mean, really, did we expect anything different here? I kind of figured that this was going to be a match to establish Nia as a threat. And I think this is the beginning of the slow burn towards the Sasha heel turn that we saw. What an excellent heel bitch character she played in NXT, and it's time for her to bring that to the main roster because there's clearly nothing for her to do as a babyface right now in the Raw division because that area of babyface lead of the Raw women's division is firmly and entirely in control of Bayley at this point.
You cheater. You
won't like my answer if I focus solely on the Rumble itself.
It depends. What is it? Real quick, before I get to
Charlotte and Bayley.
I mean,
because I actually really enjoyed Owens and Reigns, and I really enjoyed Swan and Neville.
No, I wouldn't be angry. And, I mean, it's a little bit of pot calling kettle black. If we were just doing the main show, yeah, that would be my worst match too. But pot calling kettle black because for me, it was a tag title match. I don't know why. Never to me really seemed to mesh well. And this was a night, actually, I think of more hits than misses, far and away. There was something about the tag title match that, to me, never really hit home. And just, I don't know if maybe it just didn't click or something, or maybe it was the fact that it was weird seeing the title change hands to a team that never really has had much footing. So for me, yeah, I didn't really enjoy the tag title match. So that's gonna be the worst match for me. Moving on, what is your cash for the show?
The backstage promo with Ambrose and Sammy and the respective general managers, and they used to do stuff like those with the Rumble thing. I forget what it's called. I know it has a name. The Tumbler. They used to do bits with the numbers all the time, and they were always some of the best segments. I remember the one back in 2005 where Eddie stole Ric Flair's number and his wallet, and I could not stop laughing at that.
I was thinking of that one immediately when you started bringing up backstage Tumblr promos.
Yeah, because it's one of those ones that stands out about it, you know? And then Teddy Long looking at Eddie and said, "Give it back, dog." And then he hands him back his number, and then Teddy looks at him and goes, "You know what I mean." And then Eddie hands over his wallet, too, and Flair blows a gasket. But, like, they used to do all kinds of funny stuff with those number drawing positions, and it was nice to see them kind of pay homage to that by having an actual number drawing scene backstage on the show. I enjoyed it.
Guerrero stole my number!
Guerrero! Guerrero! He also proceeded to call him a racist slur, but we won't go into that here.
Yeah, let's forget that as we reminisce on Eddie Guerrero, please.
We are. We're moving on. How about you? What's your cash for the show?
For me, the fact that while they could have, and while maybe it was the fact that they kind of ruined it by doing it, but it was the fact that it was kind of a surprise winner. Let's face it. this was probably the first one in years that the winner of the Rumble was a complete toss-up. Because going into tonight, while you could have gotten down to a handful, it was pretty wide open on who was going to win the Rumble itself. And I'm glad that they did not go the conventional route. It was not Taker, it was not Brock, it was not Goldberg, it was not Braun. Orton, while maybe not complete and total, Orton to me was still a little bit of a surprise. And I'm glad that they went that route, especially on a night that did not have very many surprises. There was no Balor, no Joe, no Nakamura, no Angle, and not many major surprises. I would dare say Dillinger coming out at 10 may actually have been the only real one, even though he really wasn't. So I'm glad, I'm happy that Orton won, even though both of my picks, weren't there. But I'm glad that they went that route.
Well, to put this into perspective here, usually going into most of these Rumbles, you can kind of tell what's going to go down. This is the first time in, I think, 5 or 6 years that I did not have a single person of my Final Four correct. My Final Four was Goldberg, Taker, Lesnar, Balor.
Oh, you were close.
Taker almost, because Taker won out 5, but still. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this up here, because I'm sure the guys at W2M want to get on here and do their thing still, too.
Yeah, I know. For you, trash.
Difficult question to ask at this point, because honestly, it didn't feel like anything was super unnecessary. I mean, yeah, you have the whole thing with the Nia and Sasha match, but I kind of talked about that in my worst match. I'm going to go with how a couple of the spots in the Rumble were used. Kalisto, no. Apollo Crews, no. Like, don't get me wrong, not everybody needs to be relevant in the Rumble. But at the same time, I think that you need to have people that I think you need to include people that people have an interest in. And the words interested in and Apollo Crews and Kalisto just do not go together right now. I think there were better uses for those spots there. I mean, Mark Henry I can respect because, he's from Texas. It makes sense to put him in there. You could have done somebody like Van Dam as a surprise in the spot that Kalisto or Crews had there, because there's somebody that would have popped the crowd, but nobody would have thought was winning anyway.
Yeah, this is actually a tough one, because of the fact that, as you mentioned, contrary to what people are going to complain about, there's not really a whole hell of a lot that you could really complain about here. Aside from small things, you didn't need 8 commentators on the show. You didn't need the show to still look like an arena, despite the fact that it was a 52,000 seat crowd. But I'm seriously having a hell of a time here. Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
That's a cop-out.
I'm not trying to cop out. That's the problem. I'll say this. I'll give you this one. If they're not gonna win, don't smash all of your big players right at the end. I didn't think it was needed. Brock 26, Goldberg 28, Taker 29. That was not needed. And in reality, your earliest big player was Orton at 21. Excuse me, Bray at 21. Orton was 23. You did not need all of them at that point. If they're not going to win, why couldn't Brock be 15? Why couldn't Goldberg be 18? Taker, yeah, I'm fine at 29. But you did not need to smash your three big players into 4 out of the last 5 spots. Or you could just say inside of your last 5 entries. That was unnecessary, especially if they're not going to win. I would rather, if you know they're not going to win, make your Final 4 a total surprise. Make it Bray, Orton, Jericho, and Dillinger, if you really want, and have them fight it out. But that's kind of a small nitpick. So my trash is not needing your big players coming down so late. So there you go. I didn't cop out. Ha. Anyway, moving on. Before we get out of here, so that the W2M guys can give their review, what is your final rating for the 30th annual Royal Rumble?
Owens and Reigns was better than it really had any right to be. Styles and Cena, what more can you really say? 4.5. I mean, if you do quarter stars, 4 3/4. I'd say 4.5 minimum. The Rumble was entertaining without being overbearing. Yeah, there were moments and stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure the entire world groaned in unison when Roman was number 30. But at the same time, Roman being there added all the more drama to the fact that Orton ended up winning there. Because let's be honest, when it came down to Roman, Wyatt, and Randy, how many people thought Randy was winning? I didn't. I thought for sure they were going to give the win to Roman just to piss us all off. All in all, despite being a ridiculously long 6 hours, I didn't feel like it was time well spent. I give the 2017 Royal Rumble a 7. Patrick?
Oof. This was hard. Because it's a good, if not great, show. And mostly because I don't want to have the same damn score as you. Unfortunately, yeah. To me, this was actually a really good pay-per-view. A really good pay-per-view. And sure, maybe not the world's greatest paced, but oh well. As my insulin pump goes off. For being only 5 matches, I was still worried that it was going to be over 4 hours. Obviously, that was wrong, and it wasn't.
It barely went 3.5.
Yeah. There was a time that for some weird reason I was still worried about it. Granted, could the 6-woman tag have still been on the main card? Yes. But be that as it may, Bayley and Charlotte was not bad. Owens and Reigns, I think a lot of people are not giving it the credit that it deserves. Because what you commented just now, to me, underestimates Roman Reigns. As people love to hate him. The Cruiserweight title, pretty good. WWE title. Come on. How could you ever knock it? The Rumble, for me, the first 2/3 was actually pretty good. Sure, you had some dumb entries. New Day wasn't needed. Enzo spot, I'm fine with it. Ellsworth, not needed. But, to me, still provided levity. And broke up what was really a more serious Rumble. There was not as much goofy crap. So, for me, I'm stuck, yet again, giving the exact same score as you. So, for me, the 30th Annual Rumble is 7. So,
look, this show is going to have more than its fair share of haters, and I mean, to each their own and all that. Not everything is everybody's cup of tea here, but realistically speaking, if you can't look at this show and find at least 1 or 2 matches that you really like or are really entertained by, don't watch WWE anymore. Plain and simple.
Pretty much.
I mean, it is what it is. If you get that irritated watching this show top to bottom that you can't find 1 or 2 matches to enjoy throughout the entirety of this card, don't watch WWE anymore. I was thoroughly entertained by most of the show. Now, granted, I had the experience of watching it with a large group of people as well, and I think that enhances your viewing. But at the same time, I think even going back and rewatching this by myself, whenever I get the show on DVD, I'm still going to have just as much fun watching it again as I did watching it tonight with my group of friends.
Well, and I mean, I ended up watching it alone. I was supposed to watch it with a group of friends, but unfortunately plans fell through. And I was still thoroughly entertained. Granted, there were times, actually, that I was struggling between a 7 and an 8. But I think the last third of the Rumble, up until the end, kind of did rub me the wrong way. So that's kind of why I didn't give it an 8. But make no mistake, this is a very good Rumble.
Speaking of the Rumble,
in terms of not only the match, but the entire show.
Speaking of which, our show tonight, the debut of Wrestling Unwrapped Reacts, has been brought to you by the Madhouse Toy Chest. Stores.ebay.com/Madhouse Toy Chest. If you are a fan of anything wrestling, DVDs, action figures, magazines, posters, VHS tapes, and more, make sure you check out the Madhouse Toy Chest and see what you can find to suit your personal taste. Mention that you heard this advertisement here on Wrestling Unwrapped and receive a free gift with your purchase. Patrick, send us home.
Without a doubt. So, next week, because of that game, if we're even on, we'll see. It is going to be early in the day. Mostly, stay tuned to our Facebook page to see if we're even going to be on. So, in terms of that, that's next week. We'll be back kind of late night in 2 weeks for Elimination Chamber. And until then, for Harry Broadhurst, for Sean Garmer, I'm Patrick Etta. You have been listening to the debut episode of Wrestling Unwrapped Reacts. And make no mistake about it, Wrestling to the Max is up next. We see you guys. If not next week, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Of course. Sean, are we done?
I didn't want to say anything because I didn't know if he pulled the plug yet.
I'm just going to hang up.
I'm going to try to message him individually and let him know.
I already did.
Oh. That sounded like we're done. Come here, Patrick.
Mm-hmm.